ECSports 22 with my guy Danny. I don't know where the fuck Ivan is. I'm not gonna give you that. Ivan has stuff to do. I don't know where the fuck that motherfucker is. So we get started. It's
What's going on?
it's World Cup time.
I'm up early. I got my espresso. I'm a pure European today. Up early,
His
watching
motherfucker bigger
watching
than
European
super
football.
European.
yeah,
Last mug.
with the
That shit
espresso.
started like 5 or 6 in the morning, right?
And I think it's, well, out here, if you really want to watch your team, you can wake up as early as
Yeah.
2 a.m. Okay. Chicago, I feel like Illinois, Midwest, or Central Time, I feel like is the perfect time. You can wake up
Yeah,
at 4 a.m. It's still kind of early, but you can make it happen. But 2 a.m., come on.
bro. Like you never think about it while you're here, but it's like, damn, how do people like the dichotomy of it? Because when I used to run that sports bar and I used to get up at 5, and these people would come in with Guinness. You get a Guinness at like 6 in the morning, bro.
Yeah, bro. I mean, especially in those states, like soccer, obviously it's a world sport.
Yeah,
You know, like people are waking up early. This is their pregame. This is basically their Super Bowl and their playoffs every fucking game because it's every 4 years, so every game
yeah.
really matters. But yeah, the World Cup's been really interesting. This whole thing in Qatar. First off, the whole Budweiser thing from the beginning.
Qatar or Qatar?
It's it's Qatar.
Okay.
It's not
I
cater.
told you, did I tell you my cousin that plays overseas? He played there for like two
Oh no
seasons.
way! Well, he played soccer. He played
Basketball. Basketball.
basketball. He played
Yeah.
in Qatar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Lazy. Yeah, I gotta
How do you
send
like
you a
it?
video back there. Huh?
You like it?
Yeah, he's real good, man. He loves
But
it.
how do you
He's
like
he,
it?
he no, he loves like the overseas way of doing things. Like he doesn't even like coming home no more. Like, but yeah, he was out there for a while. When you get out there, bro, he's been playing basketball overseas for 16 years. You gotta get him on the show sometime. I know you'll love
Yeah,
it.
man. I love. You know what? That's a real, we got to get him on, and
Okay,
we got
I
to talk
got you.
about his work.
He's always interested in coming on. So I
Let's
forgot.
go.
Danny will love that shit. But go ahead with the World Cup. Yum
I
yum.
was gonna say Budweiser. That insane deal that basically just flopped. How is that going to affect like any kind of future for the World Cup now? Like, do they understand that like they're in a certain country with certain rules and certain things like, and I know in a lot of soccer stadiums they don't actually sell more than an X amount of
Yeah, because you got
alcohol.
to be like a certain amount of ways away to do it.
Yes, to do it. So
Yeah,
that was like a big flop in that case. But the games from the start have been crazy. The whole Saudi Arabia upsetting Argentina was insane. That's basically like the Houston Texans upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles. That's basically like the worst team in the NBA upsetting like the Boston Celtics right now.
yeah.
So that was, and that actually, it's actually at a higher magnitude because when Saudi Arabia won, the king, the sheikh of Saudi Arabia bought the soccer players Rolls Royces. Could you believe that?
Wait, every player, bro.
They bought every player on the roster a Rolls Royce, I think new Rolexes, and then they gave a national holiday the
Bro,
day after for beating Argentina because it's that big of a deal. I'm
holy,
telling you, soccer's a
that's
whole.
messy, right?
Yeah, it's messy. Yeah. See, I'm telling you, soccer's a whole different wave, bro.
It is.
When you do something big in soccer, it's not just for that city, it's for that country. It's literally worldwide. Like everybody knows what happened.
Wow,
Everybody knows Saudi Arabia shocked Argentina. It's
dude.
nuts.
Every player.
Every player got a Rolls
That
Royce,
oil
bro.
is that oil money? Like what the fuck?
That's oil money. That's whatever money you can imagine, my friend.
That's crazy. So what
Um,
so with the well, I know like we always this is I know a little about World Cup. I used to run a sports bar in Chicago. So I when you run a sports bar, like I didn't watch hockey before. You have to watch hockey. You have to watch every sport if you're gonna call yourself a manager of a sports bar. I'm not gonna go all crazy with it, but people would come out at like 6 in the morning, with their Guinness or their cappuccino in a glass mug, ready to watch. So what my question is how is USA looking or faring?
they're actually, and I've never been, and call me un-American people. I've never been a true fan of USA soccer. The reason why is because this isn't our sport, right? But on the contrary, the improvement from 2018 not qualifying for the World Cup and building this program into the right way, getting younger players, players who play overseas in Europe and building in more of that European culture in soccer, they did it the right way. They have a bunch of young studs. Pulisic is obviously their best player. Christian Pulisic plays overseas in Chelsea. And then, rolling with it, they got, Robinson, Adams. They got these guys, Jorginho. They got these guys who play at big time clubs, and even the smaller clubs in European are obviously going to be a little more competitive than the MLS. And you got the best MLS players too on their team. So
When you say like MLS, is it kind of like how in
MLS,
the WNBA? I know what it is, but is
yeah.
it like the significance of the WNBA? The ladies have to go overseas to get money, or is MLS? I was in
Well,
Atlanta.
I mean, they have the funding, but I don't think they pay the players that insane unless it's an overseas guy, like for example, Gareth
Oh,
Bale or like a David Beckham or like these guys who came from, Europe to come play here and they're paying them a ridiculous amount of money. That's why and
I
these guys.
forgot to tell you, I took the boys to Atlanta for a 7-on-7 trip, and we went to Mercedes, and there just happened to be an Atlanta game going, and it was packed, bro. Like that stadium is not small.
And it's a growing sport. I mean, like I'm saying, like they built the culture here in the last 4 years the right way. The game of soccer is obviously growing, and
Mm.
as you see, athletes are gonna get better. Like you know what I mean? Like the trajectory of USA soccer is gonna get better. I don't think we're there yet. I think maybe possibly in the next 2 years, going into like the Gold Cup, CONCACAF Cup, going into 2026, they're going to be hopefully a contender. But as of right now, I think they're a very competitive team. Now they are playing Iran in a basically must-win situation, so let's see how they respond.
Get out of the
But
group stage.
yeah, to get out of the group stage because England's already basically, and they're going to blow out Wales.
Okay.
But now it comes down to an Iran team who's very scrappy. They're playing for a whole different cause. Now they're not just playing just to play soccer. They're playing for, the whole government reason and all that kind of stuff. But now they're going into that playing against a USA team who's hungry and starving too to get into the group. So it'll be a really good game.
Oh, this matters, right? Like this isn't
Oh yeah.
like, oh, it's the Lakers versus the Celtics, and this
So
is
you
like
got to think about
world
it.
shit, bro.
Yes, you got to think about it. It's once every 4 years. Once you're out, you're not going to be able to watch a World Cup until 26.
Yeah.
It's just like the Olympics too, right? So it's like these kind of sporting events that bring the whole world together, I feel like are magnified 1,000 times.
Yeah, when you're saying dudes buying Rolls Royces and Rolexes, they're not playing around with the, you
If
better win
you were
shit.
to put a bet on Saudi Arabia after Argentina scored the first goal because Argentina struck first,
Yeah.
that it was a plus 10. I think it was a plus 25,000. So if you put $100, you win 25K.
Wow.
If so, imagine that.
But there's
Imagine,
people that would like are really entranced with it. They'll be like, fuck that, I know. Like there's
yeah,
people that know, like you're sitting here just the airhead with it, but there's somebody in their house like, bro, they're about to win.
yeah. So there's but yeah, it's great to have the World Cup on now. Have you been watching any of the matches besides USA or hearing about them? Have you seen any of the teams or anyone you specifically root for?
Go soccer.
Okay, go soccer.
Go
Okay.
football. Football. I'll say football.
You're like Peyton Manning in that commercial with David Beckham.
Yes.
That's hilarious. But speaking of football, I mean, again, World Cup, everybody watch the games. If you haven't watched a single World Cup game, I encourage you to wake up early, not to 2 a.m., but wake up early, watch a few games, and you're going to see how loud the fans are, how intense these games are. It's actually a really great event. I love the World Cup, and I like the Euro Cup too. So, but transitioning into football, Thanksgiving. I hope you had a really good Thanksgiving, Dion.
Yes, sir.
How was your Thanksgiving experience? Not just from the whole dinner perspective, but I'm talking about football. Did you place any bets this weekend? And if you did you bet the over on Josh Allen or Josh Allen throwing touchdowns to Stephon Diggs?
No, I did. Me and Dylan made dinner realistically, and it was delicious. I just had this thing where I'm like, all right, these unders have been working. You brought it to the show. It's been working with like it does make sense. But I took the under on the Buffalo game that hit.
Nice.
Then I took the under on the sec. Why do I keep forgetting what the second game was? Was it the Cowboys?
Cowboys Giants.
Yeah, Cowboys Giants. I took the under that hit. And then I took Minnesota because, like I was telling you before the show, I just didn't think they were going to come into a game after getting just put in the ground, scoring 3 points against Dallas. Was it 40-3, bro? Like,
Yeah,
there's no
Tony
way
Paul
you're gonna, yeah, there's no way you're gonna come back and lose on again national TV. So I still gave them some points, but I took Minnesota alternate three, all three hit on a parlay, and DraftKings is kind of giving away money. Like, if you lose, get your money back. But I didn't lose. But overall, it's a good day, and obviously, I have money now in the tank that I can use for
play Turkey Bowl.
yeah,
Play Turkey Bowl too.
yeah.
Play ball with your boys.
Oh, of course, we always do that.
Good.
We're always on that. How about you?
It was good. We didn't play football. We played basketball. We had an open indoor gym, so we just played some ball and then great dinner. Everything was great. From a football perspective, obviously we can't put anything on a sports book. California. Anyway, but yeah, did a little bit of daily fantasy on the FanDuel, came up a little bit, but enjoyed the game. Honestly, that Detroit Buffalo game was really good.
It was.
The Giants Cup and I could say all three games had its moments where it's like, oh, pretty good Thanksgiving games.
Yeah.
But speaking into Thanksgiving is now that we're past Thanksgiving, there's a lot of the time where it's like the NFL's molding into like the contenders and the pretenders, right?
Yeah.
So obviously Buffalo is looking like a contender. They've been looking contender since week one. They've been looking at contender since they lost against Kansas City last year.
Definitely.
So besides Buffalo, on the AFC, if we're looking at the standings right now, if I can give you some teams, let me know who is a contender and who's a pretender. Ready?
Yep.
I'm going to say the 7th seed in the AFC is the New York Jets. They're 6-4. Contender or pretender?
What are they?
6-4. Currently, they're the 7th seed. If the playoffs started today, they'd be in. Zach Wilson. He's not hooking up with anybody of his friends.
No, they're pretending, bro. The reason I'm like hesitant is because their defense is so good, bro. But you can only do so much when your quarterback is that big of a douche. Like when you got your wide receiver, one of your main dudes saying, I don't know, I don't get the ball in the media, like it's not a good sign. Like he went on and I watched his both different press conferences. He's a douche, bro. Like I don't even know what else to say. Like, how do you throw for 77 yards and just feel like you have nothing to do with what your 6-4 team that is in the playoff run? Like, if you're not in the playoff run, if they weren't in like the standings, let's be real, bro. If they were like flipped, they would be like, who cares? They probably wouldn't even be talking about what he said, but they're actually winning. So now you're in New York.
Especially the New York media, right? Like the New York media is going to crucify him.
Oh,
and Zach Wilson, as they're winning, right? They're like 5-2 with him or 5-3 with him. But the reads he's making are just like very, very, very like they're not at a level where you're like, okay, these aren't NFL quarterback reads. The one throw that he had over the middle that he thought Jack Conklin, their tight end, was going to run like a post, and he just dug in. Yeah. And he just overshot him right into like the safety's chest. Like, come on, dude.
It was funny.
It's bad that he's not holding himself accountable to his mistakes, as you were mentioning. It's kind of,
and then it's funny.
Cool response. And then it comes back and bites him, and
like,
Saul benches him.
He goes home and watches, like, oh, damn, did I really say that? Yeah, I look like a fucking asshole. And then like a guy in the media was saying, like, everybody is forgetting, like, yeah, he was in the combine throwing in his shorts, long ass passes, but bro, like they said against good teams when he was at BYU, he was getting beat to sleep. That's why I hate the draft, and we'll talk about it later when the draft comes. But you're gonna see like these Malik Willises and all of these random ass people just coming into fruition right when the draft comes, and that's kind of they just blow these people up, and then teams listen to the shit instead of doing their due diligence. Here we go.
Right? How good can you throw in a loose t-shirt and shorts like you were mentioning? And
I don't.
look and a dome with perfect climate and temperature and all that. But like Zach Wilson, if you notice, he has a terrible footwork in the pocket. Once he snaps that ball, he's not climbing in the pocket at all. And he doesn't wait until like the pocket breaks down like any other quarterback would. He's rolling out right away. Like if you notice, his good throws are once he gets it and he just gets out of the pocket right away, finds somebody. Like, I haven't seen a Zach Wilson throw where it's like either in shotgun or under center where it's a 3-step, 5-step drop, boom, climbs it, hits his receiver. It's never like that.
Did Salah inherit him or did he draft him?
They drafted him.
Okay. Well, hey.
Salah, and the thing with Salah is like he coaches a really good defense. Sauce Gardner is like the clear rookie of the year.
If not, he's best in the league. Shit.
He's looking like one of the best corners in the league, right? So and even him has to come out and defend Zach Wilson. Like it's sad when like as the quarterback, and we always talk about this, quarterback has to take accountability. But yeah, let's move on to the next contender. Cincinnati 6-4, contender or pretender. They're getting Jamar Chase back hopefully this week.
They're a contender, bro. They're Super Bowl. They got Super Bowl medal.
Okay. Joe Burrow's.
Yeah.
Interesting team. Ready? And this team is kind of like a sleeper in the beginning of the year, and they got these weapons. Miami 7-3. What do you think of them? Contender, pretender?
They're good, bro. They're real good. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. I saw a little thing on Tua that I sent to Dylan about the difference in coaching and how it makes so much of a difference. They were showing Flores, nothing against him. He's a different type of coach. He's one of those intense, let's go get it. And then
he's a gamer type coach, like
gamer type. Whereas McDaniels, am I saying his name right? McDaniel. Sorry, he's like more of a cool, calm, collected. Like him and Tua are on the sidelines. It's an actual game that Tua's in, but it looks like Tua's like the fucking backup and he's chilling with him. But it's like during the game, they have a way better relationship and it matters. So
I love that. And I feel like Mike McDaniel is the perfect coach for the Miami Dolphins because of his like, he's youthful, right? He's this kind of guy where he's like, yeah, I'm your coach. I'll still get on, but I'm your friend, right? Yeah. Like looks at Tua like, yo, I'm your boy. Like, come on, man. Like, let's get it together. And even when
he loves football and he loves like, you know what I mean?
His play calling is excellent. And he comes from that San Francisco tree where they run like these design concepts, a lot of motion, a lot of guys getting ball in space.
It's funny because he dresses the part. He dresses the part. He plays the part. He can be a little dick. Yeah. So he's in Miami, bro. He's good. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs.
The only thing that scares Miami is how they're going to play in a cold weather game. Like if they have to go up to Buffalo in a playoff game, and if there's snow, they're not moving that game to Detroit in the playoffs.
They just got to winning because Buffalo.
Yeah, he's got him winning. And then, what are we thinking about my last two? Because I know Kansas City, they're obviously a contender. My last two quickly before we move on to NFC, we're going contender, pretender, Tennessee and Baltimore. Both those teams, contender or pretender?
Baltimore is a pretender. I never have liked them. I just feel like when you are dependent on just that, if I'm a defense, I know what to key on. You know, yeah, people say Tennessee. It's different with Derrick. Henry is like, you can key all you want.
He's still gonna
move. It's just a difference, bro. But Tennessee is underrated to me. I don't know why people keep betting against them, but I mean they keep winning.
They're boring. It's boring. It's boring.
That's like saying a wrestler in UFC is boring.
Yeah. Do I want to watch Neil Dariush pin someone on the ground, or I want to see?
Yeah, I want to watch John Jones pin a dude on the ground and elbow him in the face. I don't need a knockout. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, like Tennessee to me is just a battering ram. They're gonna beat you up all game.
Yeah. And win.
And Mike Vrabel, I said this last episode's coach of the year, in my opinion. And I honestly think, call me crazy, it's not a quarterback. I think Derrick Henry's MVP of the NFL just because of what he's doing. And look at that roster. They don't have a number one receiver. They don't even can you name me their tight end? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't even have guys where they have big herald, like Treylon Burks, their first round pick. He's been in and out of lineups because he's been hurt and all that. So they don't really got a true number one. They traded AJ Brown away. Their defense is playing awesome. They're even missing some players on that side. And Derrick Henry continues to be that goddamn workhorse who is beating teams up. Leading in
right position that everybody says is replaceable.
And guess what? He's also playing positions when you're getting hurt and he's at 27 years old. they're like, okay, he might slow down this year. I'm like, no. This is
Yeah.
Derrick Henry we're talking about. This is a whole different beast that we're talking about.
Well, it's a
So
guarantee on your you'd be crazy if you're doing like a bet, a parlay, anytime
yeah,
score. He's always in my anytime score.
he's in. He's in.
You know?
If we move on to the NFC quickly, I know Philadelphia is a contender. I know, okay, Minnesota 9-2, crazy good record. Are they a contender or are they a pretender?
No, I can't say that Minnesota is a. They're in my division, bro. Fuck Minnesota, and I got Cousins out there, but I do love Justin Jefferson. I just feel like Kirk Cousins is a bum. He's gonna fuck up. He's.
Okay.
I just don't like Minnesota. I love their talent. I don't feel like they're utilizing Thielen like they should, but he's like they have a great team. Don't let me. I'm not. That was just a heart moment. But in our division, they're gonna win. I want to see them excel and see what happens in the Midwest, but that's about it. But yeah,
What do you think? They just both played on Thanksgiving, Dallas and the Giants. Contenders
Dallas
are
is. I've always loved Dallas. The Giants. I did a little research on Dable. He's
love
a
Dable.
super duper analytics guy like you are. I just don't
Love
understand how they just lost that game the way they lost, but I'm interested to see what they do. I mean, they're an up and coming team. I don't know if Jones is the guy. Like I've always said on this show, people want their people. There's not a lot of Justin Fields walking around. So if I'm a guy that's inheriting a team with other people, then you got to see like how it is. A lot of people don't have that situation.
And I love Dayball because what exactly what you're saying. Like he didn't come in with his like deck of cards, right? He just got dealt, or dealt the hand he was with. You know what I mean? So with Daniel Jones having an excellent year, Saquon looks like he's back, but I don't think the Giants are a contender just yet. They're 7-4. They're competing. They're a very, very hard nosed team. They're going to play hard all 60
Probably
minutes.
get the wild card.
They could, yeah, because Washington's on the come up, right?
Yeah.
They're outside looking in type team. What are we thinking of Seattle? I love Gino. I love what Gino's doing.
This Pete Carroll 71-year-old ass still doing it, man.
Yeah, chewing
Like,
those gum packs on the sideline.
yeah. So I mean, I'm never gonna knock down Seattle, bro. They're a tough ass team with always a great defense, and Gino's a veteran that's doing what he's supposed to do, and he's a big ass dude. People don't realize that motherfucker like 6'4", 6'5", running and like it's a decent team.
The rebirth of Geno Smith has been awesome.
Yeah.
I love Kenny Walker, the running back. I like Seattle's roster. They're a young team too, and they got a bunch of assets from trade they got a bunch of assets from the Russell Wilson trade. So this is the team that's kind of like the Eagles from last year, competitive and winning, and they have a chance to build for the next season. So I think they're a contender. Now, do I want to play a first round game? Because they're going to win their division. No, they're not actually. They're actually, and that's another team we're going to talk about. They're tied for first in their division right now. But do I really think they're going to make noise in the playoffs? No. If they host a playoff game, maybe, but I don't think they're there yet. Last team, two teams actually. Sorry. San Francisco, Tampa, both supremely talented on both sides of the ball. What do you think of both of them?
San Francisco is the Super Bowl in the NFC right now. They're just stacked defense and offense. Jimmy G gets a lot of flack, but he still keeps winning. He's been in a Super Bowl. Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. It's Tom Brady. You better beat him now and put him away, because if you let him go to the playoffs, it's just going to be a different situation regardless of who's around him.
Can you imagine if Tom Brady gets a first round matchup against like the Giants or the Commanders, wins? It's going to be at home. Goes in, and if something happens, you have to play Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins in prime time isn't the best. And now you're talking about a Tampa, San Francisco NFC title game, which would be fireworks. And
That's
I think
what everybody wants, and that's not.
Because honestly, I like Philly. I love the roster. These last 2 weeks are battle testing them because the whole Washington game, they had a chance to win. They had some stupid bonehead penalties at the end of the game. Then they go into an inspired Colts team with Jeff Saturday, who's gotten those guys rolling, like amped. And they almost lost that. Unless it was Jalen Hurts had a wide. I could have ran that touchdown in the way that hole opened up for Jalen Hurts for a
Oh,
touchdown. So is Philly Super Bowl contender? Yes, of course, because they have the talent. But can they get there? That's the main question. Can they beat a team
yeah.
like San Francisco or Tampa in the
They gotta
playoffs?
they gotta win on the big stage. They're still young, and their coach is even young. He's the youngest coach in the league, I believe.
So yeah.
So yeah, I mean they gotta win the big games. Like, everybody's seen those teams where they're killing in the offseason, and then that playoff comes and those lights hit you, and you're like, oh shit, I don't know if we're ready yet. So
Number one offense is scoring 17 points total. Like, how does that happen, right? So
yeah.
I get exactly what you're coming from. But yeah, contenders
Oh
and pretenders.
yeah.
Any team that you think is a surprise team that could be on the outside looking in, like a Washington or possibly like a New England, anyone you're watching. I got one team for you that I think could be sneaky, but go ahead. You go first.
Yeah, I mean Washington with their defense is always going to be tough with Ron Rivera at the helm. And then I've never really seen a team rally around a quarterback like they do. The numbers, what's his name? Number 7, I think he is. Washington's quarterback.
Oh, Heineke.
Heineke, yeah, they love that kid. So Washington's my guy, my team. Go ahead.
My sleeper that could make some noise if they get hot at the right time is probably the LA Chargers. I mean, this team roster wise, they had a really good roster.
Yeah.
They obviously underperformed first half of the season, but if you get Justin Herbert rolling, they could be a surprise team to sneak into the playoffs. But
We'll see.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
and
That's the
that's
NFL for you. We'll find Ivan, I think. But we'll keep going. EC Sports. Watch your soccer this week. We'll see you guys next week.